Hello guys and welcome back. In this episode we're going to be looking specifically at this one picture. And this one picture, yes, okay, I'll admit from the start, I was scrolling through Instagram and she caught my eye. I'm an ass man and I like black women, okay? But what caught my attention more was in the background, okay? You see that guy sat there and you think to yourself, you see that guy stood there and you think to yourself, just look at him, okay? You've got this scenario where if it was just a shot of him, his wife or girlfriend, somebody who's, had his children and looks to be, hopefully I'm not being offensive here, but I believe she's pregnant again, okay? So she's going to mother two of his children and he's got his kid there with him. He could not give two shits, okay? He could not give a fuck about his wife, let's say his wife, his pregnant wife, and his kid at that moment in time. Why? Because he's looking at this woman's ass. He's looking at her in general, her body. And the look that he's giving, guys, is something that I never want myself or any of you guys, a situation to ever be in, which is just feeling lost. Like he clearly would rather be with that woman. I would say maybe he's just looking, right? But I think if we got inside that guy's head, if we sat him down, he would probably leave his woman, his wife, whatever, in a heartbeat to be with this other woman. He would probably click his fingers and be like, yep, done. You know, the son or the son or daughter who's on the way, that's a different scenario. But I guarantee if you said you can just visit, you can visit your kids, you can have them on weekends, and you can be with this other woman, he would again click his fingers and probably jump ship. And it's very sad to see, this guy might be happy. Who knows? We might ask him and he might say, no, look, I was just looking, I was curious. But you look at that kind of poise on his face. It's kind of a feeling of, or a look of bewilderment. He's thinking, how on earth, and you might not find her attractive, but he's thinking clearly there, like, how on earth does this woman look like this? I wish I could have a woman like that in my life, but I don't. And he might be thinking, I couldn't get a woman like that, which is what a lot of guys get to. And I never want you guys to ever get to that situation where you believe that women like that are untouchable and you're kind of stuck with what you've got. Or what makes me more sad is settling in life early on. So he's clearly not improved himself along the way, right? No offense to this guy. He's a good guy. I don't want to put him on blast. But he's kind of dad-bodied. He's just wearing the dad shorts, the dad t-shirt. There's nothing wrong with that. But he's just kind of met a woman, I'd assume. I am assuming here. He's just met a woman. He's thinking, I've been probably rejected or turned down by a lot of women in the past. This woman wants me. Let's have some kids. Let's go down the traditional route so that I don't feel alone and I don't feel lost in this world. But then when he comes across a woman like that, he can't take his eyes off her, which is actually sad for the woman that he's with and his kids, because you're like, you don't even want to be there. You just kind of fell down that trap because there was nothing else on offer, and you kind of just went with somebody who wants you, but you secretly don't really want them. It's just better than jerking off on a Saturday night, right? And I find that sad. I find that sad for two reasons. It's harsh on the family, and especially the woman who, someone else might really love her. But you think there's the other side of the coin where that guy wanted more in life. He's clearly got some level of female aspirations or female ambition. He clearly wanted a woman that was better looking. Now, the woman that he's with might be a better woman, okay? But he clearly wanted something else, but he never went for it. And this is what happens when you kind of go down that traditional route and you get frightened about being alone. You get frightened about being single. You can't handle 3 or 4 years of no sex, no women, no attention, girls rejecting you. You can't handle that. The guys who do, the guys who go, I'm just going to take it on the chin for the time being because I know once I've built myself to a certain point, I'm going to have women like this coming after me, or at least I'll put myself in a position and give myself the opportunity to say yes or no to them, or at least go up to them and have a chance, right? But what I'm seeing in this picture, and like I said, I don't want to put this guy on blast because it could have been anybody. This happens a million times a fucking day, right? So many guys are doing this. But in this scenario, you just think this guy just looks lost. You can see the look on his face. He is really just contemplating his life and thinking this woman's better than what I've got. God damn, I'd love to sleep with her for one night. I'd love to, why doesn't my wife look like that, etc. And it's a harsh thing to say, But we all know as men that that's the way we think. You know, we might see someone who's way hotter than the woman we've got, and we'll be like, shit, I need to get the fuck out, or something like, oh, but then again, can I get a woman like that? No, I'm safe. I've got one. You know, and I think that's bad. I just think if you're in that scenario where you want better women, but you believe you can't get them, then that's the time to just get out of the game for like 2, 3 years, 4, 5 years, go and improve. But you don't want to get too old. You know, you get to late 40s, early 50s, and you're thinking, maybe I've missed the boat here. Maybe I've played my cards too early. I've got a mortgage, 2 kids, I've got a wife, we got married, you know, I've got a steady job, I've got to keep this whole boat afloat. And then this like 21-year-old comes along looking unbelievable. And like I said, it might not be your type, guys, but we've all seen a situation like this, right? It was just one that I found. But you see like a 21-year-old looking unbelievable, and yeah, she might not be a quality woman, she might get on your nerves, but having the opportunity to actually choose is what I think a lot of guys miss out on from just believing that they can't do it, that they can't get a woman like that, or they're not willing to wait. They're willing to settle down now with, like I said, she could be a wonderful woman, I'm not denying that, but they're willing to settle down now with somebody that wants them, that might be like a 4 out of 10, compared to waiting 8 years and going on like a 5-year dry spell and then being able to land women like that because they've built themselves up. They've got in the gym for 3-4 years straight. They've become super successful, etc. Like, for example, I've just gone through a breakup, right? The easy one because we were both quite, what would be the right word to use here? We were both quite fair. You know, we wanted different things. She wanted marriage, she wanted kids. Well, not necessarily marriage, but she would have preferred it. But she wanted kids in the next couple of years. And I said, look, I don't want kids for like another 12 to 15 years. So we were both on different timelines. Maturely, we just said, let's go separate ways, but stay in touch as friends. Along the way, you obviously get moments where you're like, would we be better off together? And I stopped myself the other day and I was like, just why are you not working like crazy on yourself to just get to such a high level where you don't really have to think about that because you have so many options that you can just breeze that off your shoulders, you know? And it's nothing against the ex-girlfriend, love her to bits, but at moments like this, you get to a crossroads where you're like, either you settle and you downgrade and you go, I just need comfort, I just need somebody to hold at night, or you go, fuck it, how far can I take this? Now that I'm single, I've got time, I've got money, I can put everything into this. And, you know, you just push it forwards. And that's why I've started the fitness journey. That's why I'm doubling down on hours on First Man. That's why I'm putting a ton of money into the shirts and probably into the streaming platform in the next 6 months, which I would have done anyway, but I've like doubled down on everything. Like I said, the fitness journey, I've started taking it seriously now. I've started contacting places about potential hair transplants because I'm like, why not? Why not just put all these things in place and become the perfect man? You know, and I've entertained these ideas and I've gone like double hard in the paint on this shit because I don't want to end up like that guy. I don't want to end up like that guy that gets to 40 years old, you're with some, and I'm not saying this about my ex-girlfriend at all, but you know, the next girl that you could get could be worse, but because you needed somebody, you're like, oh, I just need affection. I need somebody to hold. I feel lonely. You could have got with somebody you didn't really want to be with. And then in like 10 years time, you're walking along with 2 kids and this woman you didn't really want to be with that you don't actually find attractive. It's just the only vagina that is willing to let you in. And you see a woman like that and you go, shit, that's what I really wanted. I just didn't work my nuts off. You know, and life isn't fair. A lot of women are born, they get to 18 years old, they're hot shit, right? They just have amazing genetics. They won the genetic lottery. They're beautiful on top of that. Mum and dad just did a great job, okay? They grew up in Cuba and the food was fantastic. They exercise naturally. They just look amazing. But for a man, yeah, you could have good genetics, but a lot of it comes down to success. No man is born completely jacked. You know, some guys might have naturally good genes and naturally good muscles and be bigger than average, but no guy is built like The Rock. You know, it takes some time to get there. Most of us are born, you know, we're scrawny little kids by our teen years. We're just scrawny little teenagers. You see a group of teenagers, they all look the same. You know, they're all built exactly the same. It's not until adult life when people start to separate themselves. And it's the same financially. You could be born with a bit of money. You could be born with rich parents, but the majority of us aren't. The majority of us have got to drive ourselves forward. and all the other traits that come with that, like learning languages, reading books, just becoming more articulate, just having more confidence, or better clothes, or taking better care of yourself, or, you know, just having something going on in your life where you've got momentum, like I always say to you guys, or nice assets, or something, just to give yourself some credibility. That all comes from hard work. And women are just kind of born hot, you know, along the way. But in order to get the women that you want, the top level women, like I was listening to a Mike Thurston video the other day, and he said that he was sat, I think, in Newcastle. Yeah, I think it was. And he was dreaming about being in like Dubai or London, driving along in a nice car. I think it was Marbella. He visited there on holiday, actually. He was working as a bar member there, and he said he believed he was better than that. And he was like, he saw the guys driving around in expensive cars with like a 10 next to them, and he was like, shit, that's what I want. I want to be in a Lamborghini with a 10 next to me. And I'm not saying that's what life is about, but we're all happier when we have a beautiful woman on our arm. You know, it helps if she's nice, if she's got a good personality. But usually the better looking the woman, apparently, the happier the man is in the marriage or the relationship. That's studies that I've seen. And you think, why deprive yourself of that? And I talked to one of the First Man community members quite often, and he said that guys in his factory are like, I can never get any woman I wanted to. You know, women that are like 8s, 9s, and 10s, they were like, we can never get to that level. They would never want us. And I think that's sad. I think that's sad. That really depresses me, because as somebody who loves just kind of the male gender and just loves the male industry, I just wish that more men would push themselves forward and just grit their teeth and just say, fuck it. Like, we peak later in life. You know, just put that work in early on. And guys, you might have to go from 22 years old to 32 years old not getting a single woman. You know, it might be that scenario. That might be a drastic scenario. Like I'm saying, you probably won't have to. But worst case scenario, you might have to go like 10 years without getting a single woman, in order to get to the top level, to put that time in, to put the reinvestment of money in, to just be completely dedicated to your shit. And you get to 32 and you pull like a kind of Ryan Reynolds type shit, and you start dating some of the hottest models on the planet, and then you end up marrying like a Blake Lively, right? That could be the scenario that you have to go through to get those women that are at the top. And I just think, are you willing to sacrifice a couple 4s, 5s, and 6s now in order to have the 10s later on down the line? Because I certainly am. I think that's the better strategy to go down, to have your complete pick of any woman you want in 5 years' time, compared to sleeping with 5s, 6s, and 7s now, whenever you want. I think is a much better trade-off. And it just scares me looking at that picture, guys. That scares the hell out of me. And I know personally it will never happen to me, because I'm fucking ruthless with this shit and I won't ever slow down. And the one thing that does scare me though is there's just so many guys out there that will go down that path, and they'll look back and be like, fuck. You know, they might see somebody like me in the future, and I've got the women that I want on my arm, and they're like, this guy's a dick. You know, and they hate you for it. Or they see a beautiful woman walking down the street, and they're with their wife and kids, but they're staring at this woman, and they're like, oh God, imagine what it would be like to be with her. That's not fair for anybody. That's not fair for yourself, because you treat yourself with disrespect, but it's not fair for your family either, especially your kids, you know, and your wife, or your girlfriend, whoever it might be, or boyfriends, like whoever it might be. But whatever your goals in life are, guys, whatever you believe you deserve. So if you believe, like, life isn't all about looks and beauty and expensive cars and shit. It really isn't, guys. But if you want that shit, there's no getting away from it. Like, we look at the picture of that guy again, and you just think, he might have said that in the early days, but this woman's got a great personality. Beautiful women have got shit personalities. Not true, but he might have thought that, okay? But now he's the one who's still looking. He's the one who's still like, damn, I wish I could feel what it would be like to be with that woman. Or, you know, if I could have sex with that woman just once, I'd be a happy man. And just please don't ever get yourself in that scenario, because as much as we kid ourselves sometimes and we try and say that life isn't materialistic, a lot of the time as we get a little bit older and we still want the shit we wanted when we were younger, and we get a little bit annoyed about it. You just don't want to miss out on opportunities, you know? And here's a scenario, guys. Get super rich, become successful, get in great shape, become an outlier male or perfect man. Sleep with every 8, 9, and 10 you can get your hands on, okay? Enjoy your life, have fun, date them, do whatever you want to do. And then at a later date, if you're like, do you know what, they are bitches, they're getting on my nerves, you know, maybe ring up your childhood sweetheart or bump into a six with a great personality and a great education who would make a great mother, and then marry her. I'm sure she'll say yes. You know, you always have that option. But then you can grow old knowing that you've slept with some of the most beautiful women in the world and you know what it was like. But you don't want to end up like that guy in that photo. And I don't want to put him on blast again, like I said, guys. But there's millions of guys like that on a daily basis. Like, it's not just him. But you don't want to be that guy looking back, thinking, I don't know, 45 years old now, and I will never sleep with a woman like that in my life. That's a horrible feeling. You know, it's scarcity. It's kind of thinking I'm not good enough. And I just think there's not many things that make me sad in this world, but there's two things. It's kind of like a guy who's 60 years old, who's in an office getting treated like a T-boy when he's at an age where he should be CEO, manager, or retiring on a yacht. That makes me sad. When he's rushing to work in a shit car that keeps breaking down, I'm like, how many years did you fuck up for, buddy? When did you not switch your brain on? And the other one is guys staring at women that are beautiful women that are like 8s, 9s, and 10s, and just being like, well, you know, I've got my wife, I've got my missus, it is what it is, but just staring at these other women or masturbating to them every night and thinking what could have been, or, oh, these women would never want me, but, you know, I can wish. I just think that there's some sad shit. I just think there's some real sad shit. And it's all preventable. It's all preventable. You can have whatever you want in this world, but it happens now. It starts today. That's why it's currently about 10:30 at night on a Thursday night, and I'm still working, still making videos, and I'll probably stay up till 1, 2 in the morning and then be back up again in the morning doing my fitness journey again. That's why I do this shit. Not just for women, guys, not at all, not just for the cars and everything, but the lifestyle, the choices, the freedom to be like, I want to marry a 10. I'll never get married, but you know, you get my point. I want to be with a 10. I want a 10 to live with me. I want a black woman with a fat ass, big boobs, thin waist. Do I have that choice? Yep, now I do. Okay, great. Was it what I thought? No, well, maybe it wasn't. No, never mind. Okay, that woman over there, the skinny white one, was actually the one for me. But at least I know. Do you see what I mean, guys? You have those options. You have that opportunity to make the choice. Oh, I'm going to buy a Lamborghini or a McLaren. 3 weeks in, you're like, there's too many speed bumps. There's too many speed cameras around here. I live near a school. I can't even go fast. Or I went to Tesco shopping or Walmart, wherever you are in the world, and I can only fit like 2 pints of milk in the car because there's not even enough boot space. I better sell it. I'll go and buy a Range Rover. Now I know. But you have that option of knowing, and you know, you can visit different places in the world, meet different people, and be around, and then you can actually see what you really want, what you really like. But being that guy in the photo, or a guy like that, and it just makes it worse that he's with his wife, maybe his pregnant wife, and his kid, and they're having a lovely day out. Maybe they're on holiday or something, and he's just staring at this woman, and he's not staring out of curiosity. He's not staring at the photographer. He is clearly staring at her body, her ass and stuff, and he's thinking, wow, oh my God, that's one hell of a woman. Maybe he's not seen a woman like that before. Don't end up like that, guys, please. Please don't end up like that. As a men's lifestyle expert who runs First Man, who gives a shit about all of you out there, who gives a shit about myself and your journeys and whatever's going on, and anybody else who joins this community, please just prevent that scenario, just to have the freedom of choice. It might be wrong. She might be a bitch. The woman you're with might be the one. But have the option. Figure it out for yourselves, please.